Hello everybody and welcome to the fourth round of the LOE F2 Championship here at Monaco. How do I start this? Yeah. There's it's actually, it was actually very difficult for me to turn up this because I didn't know how I was going to approach the situation. Happened at the weekend with one driver in Antoine Hubert sadly passing away, and another in Juan Manuel Correa still in hospital with pretty serious injuries. I think the league on Saturday paid tribute to the life of Antoine. And I just wanted to carry over that sentiment, not do anything formally, because I think that would be, we've already done enough. Like, as we've already done the recognition, we don't need to be showing, oh, we can do it better than other people. It's just, we respect it and we need to race on. And what better place to race on in the memory of Antoine, and with the best wishes for Correa possible, than around the streets of Monte Carlo, where Hubert took his first of two F2 victories, one of his home tracks around here, and an amazing win it was. And let's just hope the drivers give us a race that that Hubert deserves, because that's all we can hope, really. We can't do anything to reverse what's happened. We just have to race on in memory of him and carry on doing what we're doing to show that what he did was not lost on us. So hope these guys give us the best battle they can around a very, very demanding circuit. Literally every corner can ruin your race, if you want it to. And the drivers are going to have to be on top ball, and it should be. It's still not going to be easy to race around here, but these F2 cars slightly narrower. Bit less aero, so they should be able to follow a bit better. So we could see a few overtakes around here. Hoping, anyway. Hoping, fingers crossed, that we get quite a good race. Obviously, there's been a 30-minute quali session. We've got 10 minutes left. I only started the stream halfway through because I don't know what to talk about for 15 minutes. Like we did Spain. I think I'm going to carry on this on probably the whole season. But right now, we have Dakar on pole. B. Morgan, the championship leader, is currently 5th. Now, I don't think he's gone out on the soft compound tyres. We have the soft and the Monaco, I think. Yes, the soft. It's the soft and the super soft. So, didn't set a really competitive time. The leaders right now are on tyres, the top 4 anyway, so they're interesting to see what happens with those guys. We're watching Dan. Currently, should be jumped up to 3rd. He's 64 points off the lead, and how many points? Maths fails. 17 points off 2nd. So obviously B. Morgan's got 100 points, but when you think about it, you can make over a race weekend, you can get 43 points in total. So if B. Morgan doesn't score and Dakar gets full points, 43, The gap's 4 points instead of 47. 47? That's... no. The gap's 4 points... yeah, instead of 47. My maths was right. Sometimes I question myself for needless reasons. If Dan does exactly the same, he's up in second. Well on his way. Alright, who have I not talked about? Rob Airy's back this week after missing last week. LFC raced for the first time last week and will... unless anything changes, I get the feeling this is his last race. He did tell me he didn't want to do it anymore, and said tonight that this will be his for a one-off. This is his last one. So Daka's back, obviously. A V5 is also back for missing last week. Cookie is back in LOE. First off, welcome back, Cookie. Second off is a reserve. Right now, we've got him down as reserve. He will not be able to use the car he's in for much longer. He's in the Carlin, and I'll explain why he won't be able to use the car he's in much longer. We have 2 more drivers joining the league. One has picked the Carlin, and he is... If you've seen him in the Discord, his name's Aidan Carter, but his PSN is Car Mentalist 1, and he will be joining from... well, he'll be doing what I consider a trial race at France. He said if he's quick and he enjoys it, he'll carry on. If not, he won't, which I think is fair. And the other one we've got joining is Toxic, who races in Div 2, and he is racing in... wait, no. Toxic's racing in the Carlin, sorry. Toxic's racing in the Carlin, and Aiden is racing in the Toxic's in the Carlin. I'm getting confused between Carlin and Arden because in my head they sound similar for some reason. So Toxic's in the Carlin, and Aiden is in the Arden. Okay, done. So currently we have 13 drivers. There's one that's not going to race. There's one that's a reserve. So that means there's 2 drivers that haven't turned up tonight, which is Zoom and Killer Blue, and there's 2 more drivers joining us. So we should have a grid of 15 with reserves, hopefully popping in and out. So I'm quite happy with where this has gone so far. As we're getting towards crunch time in qualifying. 30 minutes has gone down very not quickly. We did have a slight delay at the start of quali. We were meant to be about 5 minutes earlier, but we forgot to invite someone. let's just be straight up. Sorry, Ghost. I thought we'd invited you, and then I just saw you put in the Discord where are the invites. So I'm sorry for that. But hey, at least we did the right thing, I guess, of restart the session. After we just started, we literally just loaded in, and Ghost went, "Where's the invites?" So we restarted instantly and made a new lobby. So hopefully all is forgiven, Ghost. Trust me, it was not on purpose. Because I thought we had sent you on, so I was a bit dumbfounded by that one as well. As we are on board with B Morgan, who has gone provisional P2 on the super soft tyres, but Daka hasn't set a time on super soft tyres. What Daka needs is just to gain as many points on B Morgan. It is what we found from the first couple of rounds is Daka and B Morgan. Daka was normally quicker, but B Morgan's just been more consistent is what I've found so far this season anyway. And obviously it did help that Daka didn't race last time around in Spain. But he's here for Monaco, and he's stuck in on pole right now. Still in the pits, not yet come out for his full flying lap. Racing at Home said he just wanted to emulate Schumacher. Now, if I saw that correctly, wait, was Racing at Home at at Raskas? Was it Raskas or was it... Schumacher had a lot of incidents around here. Didn't he have one in the tunnel once? Was it the tunnel? Or I saw he had one at Raskas as well. I don't know. I wasn't really... I was going to say I wasn't really born. I was probably not born for one of them. If one of them was 2003, 2004, 2003, I definitely wouldn't have seen. And I probably wouldn't have remembered had I. Neither 2004. I don't remember much of Schumacher. But I hear tales and see videos and, you know, get up to date. Even though it's probably, well, it's more than 10 years old. Nearly 15, well, over 15 years old. Now, as, still none of the top guys have really come out. Dan is out there on the Super Soft tyres. Cookie on the Super Softs. Ghost on the Super Softs. James has just come out on the Super Softs. Sarge is on the Super Softs. Racing at Home's on the Super Softs. In for the Dakar support. Currently P1. I think he's doing New Quaver Boys. Very proud. Very proud. He's doing you a service, is what he's doing. And making you look good. That's what I English first language. I haven't been to school in too long and haven't used vocational skills in well too long. So English. But as we watch, actually one of the nicest looking cars on the grid as B Morgan has retired from the session. Where is that? Sarge is off it at just, well, it's at Mirabeau. Mirabeau it is. He was off there. Where was B Morgan? Sector 2 and 3. I did not see where B Morgan was. If Ben is in the chat, please let me know. I want to see what happened. Because the yellow flags have now gone. Hope it works in the race then. For Monaco, literally just copied it. Someone and go chill in TT a bit. Oh, he probably is using your setups, not gonna lie. As the yellow flags of B Morgan have gone out. Now, is it a deliberate crash for him? Or was it... Was it deliberate retirement? Did he not think he could go any further? Or was it... a mistake by Ben? Who knows, as we'll go on board with for a lap with the supposed Sergio Setta Camara at Sergio Setta Camara. Cheeky plug for the Brazilian there. Lucas will like that one. You're welcome, Lucas, as his teammate has to get out of the way. Cookie Games, obviously not his teammate, but is for this race. Dakar very nicely through the first sector on provisional pole. Can he beat that? I suspect he probably can. As he goes into the hairpin, you do actually take a lot of curb in these F2 cars. You kind of have to. You have to preempt the corner in the F2 cars. It's a bit like pad steering, these F2 cars. Just wanted to put that out there. Don't get mad at me, pad users. You'll see why. As Dan puts it on pole by half a tenth, but obviously with Dakar still coming round and probably still room for another lap if he wanted to afterwards, I reckon that'll get beaten as we watch the Carlin driver trying to make up some ground in the championship. Comes through the chicane. Has he invalidated? We don't know. He's going to push to the line anyway. Could still go for another lap if he needs to. As he crosses the line, well, opens the DRS, crosses the line. What's Dakar going to set across the line? It's a 20.1. He's only on pole by two tenths there to Dan. I thought it would be a bit of a bigger margin, but maybe he can't get most... Well, maybe the tyre difference isn't that big. As we have V5 has just set a lap. He's gone slower than B Morgan. Cookie... Well, Sarge has gone up to 5th. Still behind B Morgan. There's quite a few guys who haven't set times. Ryan, Ibo, LFC and Robert have not set times. Sarge has retired from the session. Cookie is a bit wayward. He's going to hold up V5 is the only problem for V5. And V5 has backed off. That is V5's qualifying over. Cookie is pushing. Ghost is pushing. James is pushing. will go on board with James. He is the closest to the line. Dan has pit. Daka still going right now, but I don't know whether he'll pit because he is on provisional pole. James gonna go across the chicane. What can he do when he gets to the line? Brakes for the Raskas and goes into the pits. So that's James is qualifying over in 9th. Cookie's out of quali. Goes to smack the wall. And Daka is sideways at Raskas. V5 is backed off. So that is the grid for Monaco. Ghost couldn't improve and he starts 7th. Daka in the pits. And V5 will start from 4th. So there you have it. Back in the back for the race. Missed a week. Back and gets pole. Daka on pole in Monaco, which is the most important thing, because if you think about it, I'd rather be on pole for the feature race than the sprint race, because he is gonna get a handy chunk of points if he can hold that. So he takes pole position. Dan in 2nd place, a good qualifying from him, ahead of the championship leader in 3rd, B. Morgan. Didn't quite have the pace to match Daka, but is still up there. He's a bit relentless at this point. V5 in 4th, Sarge 5th. Cookie in 6th, good debut for him, on the soft compound tyres as well. Ghost in 7th, racing at home in 8th. James in 9th, Ryan in 10th, and then outside the top 10 we have Saribo, LFC, and Robert without a time. Don't know what happened to Robert, but he is without a time, so who knows. But I'll add the quali in, and that brings the gap down to 43 points. Right now, anyway. I need to add Cookie into the championship, but I keep forgetting to do that. Because I'm if you didn't know me, I'm OCD, and I fill the leaderboards in instantly, and it doesn't work a lot of the time. He's not here. But yeah, as the drivers pick their strategies, it should be a one-stop easily round here. The interesting one to look out for will be Cookie on those soft compound tyres. What does he do? Does he ditch them early, or does he try and stay in the chain? Because he's a bit further down the grid than maybe he would have liked, but we'll have to wait and see. As we've got 6 seconds now until the start of the formation lap. And all the drivers are ready, all 13, and the lights are already out. That was very quick for the formation lap. Someone has not gone off the line. V5. No, it was B. Morgan. B. Morgan didn't go off the line, which is something I don't like on this game. Well, obviously, if the rule is in real life, if you drop to the back of the grid, you have to stay there. But and if you don't drop to the back of the grid, you can overtake the cars. But around Monaco, it's very difficult to overtake the cars. It's the thing. I guess they have to let you by, but I mean, it should make you do that. That's what I think personally, anyway. But let me add Cookie Games to the leaderboard. So Cookie _ Games 14. Is a reserve. Right now, anyway. Unless he changes his mind. As the drivers make their way through to the swimming pool section of the track. Actually, no, Daka's already passed the swimming pool section, so a few cars a bit further behind than others. as the drivers make their way to the grid for the start of the the 7th race of the season, the 4th round of the season in the F2 Championship. Let's see how good of a start as we wait for Robert and LFC. LFC. Oh, actually, no, we have Ryan. Ryan was very far back on the formation lap, so I don't know what happened to him. As we will prepare for the red lights. On board with Dakar. We don't want to be on board with him, but that's the only camera angle we've got right now. Until the lights start coming on. Here we have it. 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Monaco. And away we go for the 4th round of the season. Very good start from ILRT Dan. New gamer tag for him. And into the lead on lap 1. There's a big move from Sarja up the inside of B Morgan. But B Morgan holds on to 3rd place. V5 pressuring on Sarja as they go up towards Massenet for the first time. Massenet, Casino, whatever you want to call it. They're all the same to me. As V5 has lost out to Sarja, but he's up the inside. Into Mirabeau, who's going to help make this one stick. Sarja might have to back out of that one, and he does. V5 back up to 4th, but me Morgan on the back of Dakar, and not a good start for the man chasing this championship. Robert up 3 positions. James being left behind. He's down 4, and unfortunately for him, but the big move off the start. Dan just out traction Dakar, but now we see the pace of the Scotsman. Can it come? Oh, that's a big chunk of the chicane. He's just cut out. But Dan did have the pacing quality. He seemed to be right on it. Only 2 tenths slower than Dakar. So what can the Scotsman do to get past Dan, who has been on it? I will say that. As B Morgan now right on the back of Dakar. B5 being dropped a little bit. There's yellow flags in sector 3. That is... Oh, that might have been LFC, I'm not sure. But we still have 13 drivers on the 2nd lap right now. Cookie Games has already got a 3-second time penalty on the 2nd lap of the race. Where is he making this? Where is he going to make this move? That's the real question. V5 starting to close the back up to this group. The slower they go, the better it is for him. The more he can catch up, and B Morgan's not got a great exit at the hairpin. There's a bit of a gap now between. There's a little, well, 2 groups. Oh, that made me laugh. Sorry, Don. I was reading the chat. Don steering wheel. Dan start be like, I am speed. If you don't get that reference, you probably didn't grow up in the early 2000s or the late 90s. Or haven't watched the film Cars. I like the bit of that film. Oh no! No. His start was I am triple speed. Now, if you don't get that, I can understand you. As DRS is not open, and Dakar has had a pretty poor exit out the final corner, I will say that. V5 sets the fastest lap of the race, so good lap times from all 4 of these guys. DRS now enabled. And more yellow flags, that might be Cookie. It is Cookie at turn 1, he has gone deep and... Oh, I think he ghosted. Luckily, I think he ghosted with Ryan. I think he just avoided a collision there. We still have all the drivers in the race, but let's go on board with V5 at the back of this battle. He's a bit of a way back from these guys, but time is found pretty easily around Monaco if the group gets bunched up. Dan is doing enough right now. Dan is doing enough. He took his first podium last time out in the feature race at Spain. He finished 3rd in Spain. Took his first podium. He's now up to 3rd in the championship, and the way he's just hit form at a pretty good time in the season. It comes to a couple of tracks where you need to be on the pace. Monaco, probably the qualifying is most important, but his race start was the best I have seen this season from pretty much anyone on the grid. That was a pretty perfect start as B Morgan's gone very wide, nearly into the wall at Raskas, and he's lost Oh no, he's still got DRS off Daka, but he is a long way back. He's outside of a second now as Daka sets the fastest lap of the race, and he's putting the pressure on Dan. But as we watch V5 exit of the first corner, this is going to be close between these two. He's got the toe up the straight towards turn 2, turn 3 at Casino. He has a look to the inside, but he can't do anything. Does B Morgan have damage? Do I look at that front wing and think, no, I do not think he has damage. He's really losing some time though. 1.5 seconds of the gap between him and his title rival in front. The top 3 in the championship, in the top 3 positions, in reverse order so far. V5 was fourth in the championship going into Spain, because he didn't race. He is now down to 7th, but can easily get back up there. He is only 3 points off 4th. And at the moment he's getting 12 as B Morgan takes a time penalty on the 4th lap of this race. And that is quite worrying for him already, as V5 also takes one, going very wide through swimming pool. And that was a bit more obvious as Sarja also picks one up through swimming pool behind him. As B Morgan goes into the pits. Was that damage for B Morgan then? Is this a pit stop for front wing for B Morgan? The championship leader comes into the pits very early, and I do not see a guy with a front wing. So he is going for the undercut. Where's he going to come out though? He's on the soft compound tyres. He's been held. Oh, he got dropped a little bit slowly. I don't know. He might. It's going to be close between him and Ryan, but he's going to come out behind Ryan. He's out behind Ryan. There's a gap. Oh no, there was a gap behind him. Ibo, bit far back, I think, to try and overtake Morgan. Morgan's got about 4 seconds to play with in terms of Ryan. I think Ryan might have already pit as well. So no, Ryan hasn't pit. It was LFC that pit. Ryan stayed out on the super softs. B Morgan's got some work to do. What do the leaders do as LFC retires in the pit lane? I think he might actually have hit the pit lane wall as we watch Dan. Dan's still in the lead of this race. He is controlling it right now. Daka did start to set the pace, but has had to back off a little bit. As Cookie Games is now out of the race, and Daka comes into the pits. Very cautious on entry. Didn't want to go into the wall. Let's go on board with Ibo. Oh, there is Cookie. That's a big incident for Cookie. Don't know what's happened. It reminds me very much of Sergio Perez's crash in 2011. It was a very big one as Daka in the pit. B Morgan's coming down pit lane. Daka's coming out of the pit entry, and he has stayed ahead of B Morgan. Sarge's going to come out. Sarge's had to change a front wing. Sarge changed his front wing, and he's going to come out last by a long way. But B Morgan, the problem Morgan has, he's caught up to Ryan. Ryan's pace is not too strong. And he's going to have to find a way through Ryan. No, is he? No, Ryan is going to let him go into Mirabeau. I guess that's a pretty smart move from Ryan, I guess. If he's going to have Morgan trying to overtake him every lap, what's worth the risk? But now there's a 2.5 second gap between Daka and Morgan. LFC has decided to call it quits. I feel like he won't be taking part in the second race today, unfortunately. But if that is the last time we see LFC on the F2 racetrack, it's been a pleasure, I guess, for 1.5 rounds. Unless you lagged out, then it's been a pleasure for 2 rounds. If you can get back in, but I don't know. And Cookie, Cookie was having a decent race. Dan is in the pits. Has Daka managed to do the undercut? This is going to be really close between the two of them. Daka is out ahead of Dan. Is he? Dan's going to have the short route to turn 1, but Daka's into P1. Oh, provisional P1. He's ahead of Dan. Dan has been undercut by a lap by Dan. By the other Dan, Daka, into provisional P1 in P5, but he's going to get held up by Robert here. Robert is going to get him down to Mirabeau, and Robert's going to hold up Dan now. B Morgan riding this right behind ILRT Dan in provisional P3. Now the question is, if these guys do get held up by Robert, can V5 overcut them? He has clean air to push now. He has a real chance of getting a podium position from this. Look at the gap Dakkar's already got, nearly 1.2 seconds. We're going to have to watch Dan as he's very close into the chicane. B. Morgan, not close enough. None of them can do anything. Robert picks up a penalty. Morgan definitely cut the chicane, as well as V5 now pits. This is interesting. Where does V5 come out? I think he'll come out behind Dakkar, but will he come out behind Dan and B. Morgan? Will he manage to overcut them? V5 is in the pit lane. He managed to stay ahead of Ghost as Dakkar comes down the straight now. It's going to be really close as we're on board with Dan. There is V5. This is going to be really close for who takes provisional P2, and it will be V5 as Dan goes wide out of turn 1. B. Morgan's now got the run. He's going to get squeezed because of Robert. This is going to be very close between the two of them. B. Morgan on the outside, Dan on the inside, and I think Dan will have to yield. There's no room for Dan there. Robert is holding these guys up a treat, and there is definitely front wing gone off one of the cars. I think that might have been Robert, who now is really holding these guys up. He's just driving his race. He's now got front wing damage. But these guys have been properly held up, and Dan, who was leading this race from turn 1 on lap 1, now down to provisional P4 with Racing at Home and Robert yet to pit. B. Morgan gonna be lining up a loop move, the championship leader in provisional P3. Will be losing some points as it stands, but not many. Does he send it down the inside of the chicane? Robert cuts the chicane. V5 picks up a penalty. B. Morgan picks up a penalty. It's all going mad. Robert's finally moved out of the way of these guys after cutting the chicane. I don't think he wanted to get a penalty, so he just slowed right down. Fair play to him. But Dan has lost out almightily in those in that last lap. Not only been undercut by V5, but been overcut by V5, but also been overtaken by B. Morgan, who didn't necessarily have the same pace as the leading guys in this battle. B. Morgan, well, Dakkar and Dan seem to be the faster guys in qualifying, but Dan has been overtaken by B. Morgan. It's going to be very difficult for him to get past now. Dakkar, 2.2 second lead he's now got. Now I'm going to do a quick thing, unless there's an overtake right here by Dan, which there is not. I know Dan, he wouldn't go for that. I will check the penalties of the leaders. Dakkar is 1 warning away. V5 has 2 penalties. B. Morgan has 2 penalties, and Dan has 2 warnings, so he's 1 penalty. So Dakkar and Dan are 1 warning away from our first penalty, and V5 and B. Morgan already have 2. So at the moment we're looking at Dan Dan very close to second provisionally. The gap is close. He's right behind B. Morgan. He needs to get past B. Morgan. He needs to fight, otherwise he's going to be stuck behind him for the race. As V5 is still pulling away from the championship lead this season. B. Morgan being outpaced, but it sometimes happens when you come to Monaco. The championship leader isn't quite on it. George Russell last year actually, came to Monaco, did not have a fun time at all. Didn't have a fun time at all in 2017. So it happens to the best of drivers. As those two have shown, they are 2 of the brightest talents in F1, with Leclerc winning this weekend and Russell doing an unbelievable job in what is an absolute dog of a car. The championship leader comes here. He is nowhere, just like they were. At least he's not in the wall like they were yet. It could all change. I don't want to jinx anyone, but I have this thing. I can't help it most of the time. But Dan struggling to find a way past B. Morgan, and getting stuck behind Robert is really that turn 1 and lap 8 has lost Dan a lot of time. Lap 8 or lap 9? I think it was. No, it might have been lap 9. I don't know. I've been talking for a very long time. I can't even tell. Ghost up in P6. I'll give a shout out to Ghost. He's doing a pretty good job. Doing a pretty good job in P6. What's his best finish of the season? I think his best finish of the season was 4th place. I think he's finished 4th in both sprint races that he's taken part in. Dan has just tapped the wall, gone a bit wide out of turn 1. He hasn't got any front wing damage, but he has lost time to B. Morgan. We will go back. We're going to go to this interesting battle. Racing at Home, who has not pit yet, is in front of the 2 leaders. This is allowing V5 to catch up. The Trident holding up the Carlin and allowing the Russian time driver to catch up. The gap is now a second between Dakar and V5. Dakar has to find a way past Racing at Home. Does he go for it into the chicane? Racing at Home is going to force him to the outside. Gonna give him that room. Dakar does cut the corner, does get his first penalty of the race, but it was his first. And V5 does have 2, but Dakar went for a move that he couldn't quite pull off, and it has allowed V5 to get massively into this battle for P1. Racing at Home not going to be looking at pitting for a while yet. They do have to find a way past this Trident, and he might actually have a very good run down to turn 1. Gonna have the DRS. He's getting close. Racing at Home goes defensive. Will he look at the switchback and the drive up the hill? No, he's not going to quite get it. V5 all over the back of him now as Sargent picks up another penalty. Dan still on the back of B. Morgan. Can't do anything. He's caught that time back up though. Dakar needs to find a way past the Trident. This might be his best chance. If he can get drive out of Casino Square, he can't quite get close enough. And this is the problem around Monaco. You find a car and you just can't overtake it. No matter what you do, it is so difficult to find. No matter how much of a grip advantage you have, you will just really struggle to find any room. His best chances are down into the chicane, where we know Racing at Home went really defensive on the last lap and is a bit further ahead this time around. He has to send it or he has to wait. It's one of the two. As Racing at Home, fair play to him. He's doing a perfect job managing his race. He hasn't got to worry about the drivers behind. He's not in this battle. He just has to worry on his own race. He doesn't have to move out of the way. He's not a lap down. He's leading the Grand Prix right now. Obviously, yes, he has to pit, but he's managing his strategy, and he doesn't have to move out of the way for these guys. Doing perfectly right now. He's going as fast as he can. His tyres will not allow him to go much faster. So this is an important point of the race. Can either of these two get past the Trident? As the Trident goes a bit wide out of turn 1. This is a chance for Dakar. Can he find room on the Trident? He's not going to find room there. There's a bit of contact. V5 looking at Dakar. Can't find a way past. There was no damage from the Carlin, but that was a chance. He had a look, and Racing at Home, obviously there is that massive bump. That is technically the racing line. Dakar looking at it. V5 so close. He has to back out. He can't do anything about that. And this is allowing the group behind of B. Morgan and Dan to close right back up. James into the pits on lap 12. Obviously it's lap 13, but he was on lap 12. At the moment, only Robert is not scoring points, but Ivo has just pit. That will put Robert back into the points. But Racing at Home is doing everything he needs for his race, but Dakar I'm not going to say he should have overtaken. It's so difficult when you are following, even in these cars which have less downforce, which means it's technically easier to follow. Even in these cars, it's ridiculously hard to overtake. I reckon V5's got a better chance of overtaking Dakar than Dakar has of overtaking Racing at Home. Ibo's coming out of the pits. He's going to be ridiculously close. Dakar around the outside. Racing at Home has to give him room, and he does give him room. And it's going to be side by side up the hill, down towards up towards Massenet. Who's going to get ahead? Is Dakar going to be able to overtake him? Yes, he is. Racing at Home has been dispatched by the Carlin driver. Fantastic move by Dakar. Got the drive out of the final corner. Got the run into turn 1, and now Racing at Home is still ahead of V5. I reckon Racing at Home could be pitting this lap though, and V5 sends it up the inside of the hairpin. Oh, very aggressive move. Racing at Home still on the inside and will probably keep that position. V5's going to try it around the outside. This could end in tears. V5's got him. V5 has got him. Ibo's right in that battle, obviously a lap down. And he's got some of the leaders behind. Robert has crashed. Robert is out at the swimming pool complex, unfortunately for him, and that is his race over on lap 13. B. Morgan and Dan, this is going to be a close one. Ibo's letting them past, fair play, but Dan is still in this battle, as they're going to have to find a way past. Oh, I don't know if that was ghosted. They've all had to avoid that car. Robert has left the session. Robert will not be taking part in the second race. For some reason, I don't know why he wouldn't be taking part in the second race. Dan can't quite get close enough as Racing at Home does pit. The gap now between the front two is 1.5 seconds. B. Morgan 3.5 seconds back. Dan right on the back of him. Dan's still yet to get a penalty. Well, I don't know. I might have not seen one. Dan's just needs. Yeah, I did not expect that overtake at those corner either. V5 was. I think V5 was when he went for that corner. He wasn't fully committed because he went for it, and then you can tell when he's on the brakes, he didn't go full send. He was so cautious when he went for it. And that's when you get the. That's when you were committed, so I think it went fine because you were committed to the corner, and you know exactly what you're doing. But because he was a bit cautious and he wasn't fully committed on the move, it nearly ended in tears. But V5 got out of there fine, and is starting to increase the gap to B. Morgan already. The gap is already 4.5 seconds. He's gained about 8 tenths in one lap, and Dan is just keeping it clean. Dan is just going for trying to gain points on the guy in front of him, the man in front of him, in B. Morgan, who will not lose the championship lead as his yellows in sector 3. That is Ibo backwards at the final corner. Don't know what he has done there. That was a very interesting one. For him to be backwards, he's actually now a lap down from his teammate. Which is interesting. He's now 48 seconds off the back of the field with a broken front wing, but still in the points, which is an important one, I guess. The gaps at the stop. Not much is happening. The interesting one's going to be the sprint race, where people can make the moves, because they have to go for the moves in that sprint race. It's where they make them that could make or break the races in the sprint race. But at this point in the race, the only thing that's going to decide anything is penalties. And B. Morgan is losing so much time to the guys in front, and this is just hampering Dan. Dan led until the pit stops. He led until the pit stops, and now down in 4th place. That will be 3rd if the penalty situation stays as it is. But he's not close enough to V5 to get because V5 has 2 penalties. He's not close enough to V5 to get anything from that. And that is because the guy in front of him, B. Morgan, can't pick up the pace, which is a weird one. But as Sarger comes into the pits, he's actually going to finish a race as it stands. They need to do 90%. 90? Yeah, it's 90%. So around here, that's 19. The end of lap 19. As V5 picks up another penalty. Dakar obviously has that penalty. V5 now on 3 penalties. B. Morgan also on 3 penalties. So as it stands, Dan is with a chance, but he's losing so much time. Was that another penalty for V5? Was that another one, or was that the same one? Because if that was the same one, okay, it was the same one. I don't know why that stayed up, but Dan needs to find a way past B. Morgan to be able to benefit off the penalties of V5. B. Morgan is now 8.5 seconds behind behind V5. He was ahead of him before the pit stops. V5 was ahead before the pit stops. And now B Morgan was ahead before the pit stops. And now the gap is 8.5 seconds. Dan trying to find different lines, trying to find some run out of nowhere that he can get on B Morgan. The yellow flag's in sector 3. That is might have been Ivo again. He's the only one in sector 3. So it could have been him again. But Dan just can't find anywhere to get a run on these guys. Ghost in 5th place isn't far behind these guys and is gaining rapidly because the pace drop off from B Morgan's is insane. He's dropped so much from the start of the race, where he was hampering the front two of Dan and Daka, and V5 behind him, holding him at bay pretty easily. And now he's just holding up. All he's doing right now is he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose third. He could lose fourth. No, he's gonna lose third. He could lose fourth as well. This is, I don't know. He needs to back people up and hope they get penalties, but it just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Now Dan is now out of range of V5 unless V5 picks up another penalty. Dan will lose out on 2nd place, and I reckon he'll be pretty frustrated with how this one went, because after that start, and yeah, he pit 1 lap later than everyone, but he got undercut by about a second, which shows how OP it is round this track in well, for sure, as Dan still can't find a way past. I reckon if Dan gets past, he has the pace to maybe reel into that 9-second window with V5, but B Morgan, I don't know what happened. Maybe he lost front wing. Oh, he did. Why haven't I seen that? I have not seen that before. Wait, is the game lying to me? I swear I just saw a bit of end plate damage as the fastest lap now goes to Sarja. There is end plate damage. That's why he's so slow. He's lost front wing. I didn't even notice. Wow, I am blind. I am very sorry to anyone watching the stream that did notice and I didn't. Yeah, I'm blind and I apologise, but that's why Dan's getting held up. And there is, because it's Monaco, you just get held up because there's nowhere to overtake really, unless someone gets a really, really bad run. You're stuck behind them for the rest of the race, unless the pit stops come. But there's no point in the pit stops now. There's 2 laps left. The gap at the front is 1.3 seconds. The guy with the fastest lap down in P7 right now in the MP is going to score points. He will score points in this race. Sarja will score at least 1 point in this race. It is confirmed. If he crosses the line now, he will score a point. At least 1. He hasn't scored a point the whole season. He hasn't finished a race since Bahrain, and he didn't even score a point there. But he will score a point today. At least 1. Which is good news for Sarja. At least he will break his duck. And as it stands, he's 2nd place. He's 2nd place on the grid for the next race. It's Dan. Still behind B Morgan. They're going to go side by side into the back. And Dan has gone round the outside of B Morgan on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. He's 12.6 seconds behind. He has to find 4 seconds to beat V5. But he's finally done it with a move that was worth the wait. Round the outside of Tabak. That is a ballsy move. I have not seen anyone do that for a very... Well, I've never seen anyone do that. The last time I saw someone go side by side into the Tabak, Maldonado flew. So, the barrier went everywhere, and here we have it. Dan, in the F2 cars, making past Maldonado look like an absolute mug. Mugging B Morgan off the championship leader, who's now gonna, with that front wing damage, probably drop back, and could lose a position to Ghost here. Racing at home isn't quite close enough, but could be by the end of the lap as you watch B Morgan go deep into that corner. The gap between Dan and V5 is extending. There's yellow flags in sector 3, which is, I don't know. Sarja still fine, so that's good. But we'll watch the leaders now as Daka and V5 come through the final sector. He did have a challenge in that first stint, but as soon as he pit, he has had clean air. V5's been winning with him most of the way. After getting past Racing at Home, he's been with him all the way, but penalties are going to cost V5 as Daka crosses the line to take P1 in the feature race at Monaco. V5 in second. Will he hold on to that? I think he will, but that is Daka's first win since the first race of this season in Bahrain. Dan across the line to finish third, 3 seconds off second in the end. B Morgan will drop out of the top 4. Will he drop out of the top 5 as Racing at Home crosses the line? No, B Morgan holds on to 5th place. And now James has crossed the line in 9th, a lap down. Ibo also has to cross the line, but he's pulling over to let Sarja through. Always the gentleman is Ibo. We have Ibo. We Sarja to cross the line. Ibo then a lap down, and then Ryan to wrap off this first race of the day. Everyone finishing gets points, even Ibo. And Sarja will not only collect his first points of the season, he will collect 6 plus an extra 2 for the fastest lap of the race. Well done, Sarja. You have finished a race for the first time since Bahrain and will pick up 8 points for your struggles. He's on his own in the team as Ryan's going to come home with half a front wing here. But we'll bring it home for I think 4 points in 8th place. So well done to all the finishers for making through that first race. I don't know how long the second race will be. I suspect maybe 8 or 9 laps, maybe more than that. But Dan's start was pretty spot on. It was no, he definitely didn't jump it, but his traction was ridiculous. We have KK Rosberg in the chat. It is always an honour to have a former world champion in the F1. Not saying anything. He could be real. I don't know. That's bad. Ibo saying it can poop off. Okay. But there we have it. Daka on the top step of the podium. And the 3 on the podium fully deserved it. Dan, I feel a bit bad for only getting third, but well done to him. But let's run through the grid for the second race we have today. On pole will be Ryan in the Chevrolet. We'll have Sarja in second place. A good chance for Sarja if he doesn't bottle it. Racing at Home in third. B Morgan will start 4th. Ghost will start 5th. Dan will start 3rd. 6th. V5 will start 7th. Daka will start in 8th. James will start 9th. Ibo will start 10th. Robert is not in the session anymore. Cookie will start 11th. And LFC also not in the session. Traffic and wing damage ruined my race. Yeah, I saw. I didn't actually see your wing damage. I didn't see anyone's wing damage, which is my bad. But I'll add the points in. You got pole, but didn't get fastest lap. So that's 29. Dan finished 3rd, so that's 15. James finished 9th, so that's 2. V5, that's 18. Ghost was 4th, so that's 12. That's Ghost's best finish of the season. It trumps the sprint race because it's more points. Racing at Home was 6th, wasn't he? So that's 8 points. Ryan got 4. Ibo got 1. Robert DNF'd. LFC also DNF'd. And Sarja picks up 8 points. Well done to every driver that made it through that race, because that was chaotic. Oh, and sorry, I've got that song stuck in my head now. Cookie also retired from the session. James has lagged out the session, and his car's not on the grid. Oh, that is the worst time. His car's not even. Oh no, his car's not even on the grid for the formation lap, so it's not even like he can jump back in. Oh, that's so unlucky for James. That's so unlucky. He would have started 9th, but that's so unfortunate, James. it's not like we can do anything about it as well. He's just gonna... Oh, he can't rejoin. Because, so annoying for him. He must be so annoyed now right now. We all moan about his internet, but we must at some point we have to realise it's not good for him either. As it means now he can't get anything from this race. It will only be 10 starters. No, 10 starters or 9, 10 or 9? 10 starters for this race. It promotes Ibo to 9th and promotes Cookie to 10th. Cookie at 1 position, Ibo at 1 position, from where they were going to start anyway. So yeah, I haven't moved the drivers around in the standings actually. But V5 now jumps up to 4th. Ghost, doing an impeccable job, is now up to 5th in the standings. Racing at Home is... Or he's 7th. But there's a driver that's retired just ahead of him, and because of results, he is 7th. I will sort the rest of the grid out in a minute. But as they line up for the start of this race, Ryan on pole. I haven't seen a getaway from him yet, so this will be interesting to see what he can do. Off the start, he's up against Sarja, off the line. There we have it, Sarja on the grid. We'll wait for Cookie. Cookie will be the last car. I don't know what happened to Cookie, but he's very far behind. So we wait for the Carlin driver in the number 19 car to line up on the grid. This car was driven by Lando Norris and signed at the back at Monaco, which I think Lando also did. So as we have the lights coming on now for the sprint race, 8 laps round the Circuit de Monaco. And away we go for the second race of the day. Good start by Ryan, also a pretty good start from Sarja. Racing at Home, also a good start up the inside of Sarja. But we'll have to back out of that one. Dakar ahead of V5. B. Morgan losing out to Dan off the line. Good start from Dan. And he's up to 5th already, so he has put himself in a very strong position. Then he crashes. Ryan ahead of Sarja, ahead of Racing at Home and Ghost Recon. Dan in 5th, B. Morgan 6th. Dakar up 1. Into 7th, V5 losing that position obviously in 8th. And Ibo and Cookie also holding stations. The top 4 all in the same position they started. There are yellows. I didn't see anyone crash, but that might be for front wing. The weather is very, very, very overcast, so could we see some cheeky drops of rain in this race? I don't know. Interesting one for me. Dakar, a bit of a way back. Where's my interval's not coming on, which is pretty annoying. There is no interval as Cookie gets ahead of Ibo, and Ibo gets a penalty already on the first lap of this Grand Prix. Dakar right behind B. Morgan. It is a train. Obviously, with the sprint race, it's slightly slower guys from the first race at the front, so it will bunch people up round here, and it will make overtaking very interesting, because it's slightly easier, I guess, in a train to overtake. There's the intervals are back. There we have it. I have intervals at last. Dan has to try and do something to get past B. Morgan all over the back of him. Won't be able to do much. Dan is in a very strong position. Dakar needs to get ahead of that Dam's car who locks up into Mirabeau, but he will get away with that one. I just feel like B. Morgan has shown very... I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but he's been... Right, there's been the drivers that are wait for the opportunity. There's been B. Morgan that'll make the opportunity for himself. It's not aggressive in a bad way, but it's the Max Verstappen kind of aggressive where, excluding last race, it's very handy. There was a collision at the chicane that's Racing at Home backwards, but did that give Dan any front wing damage? No, it did not. It just promoted in one place. Racing at Home backwards at the chicane. Ibo's cut the chicane and 10-second time penalty. He didn't even gain a position. B. Morgan with a penalty now, which helps Dakar. If he can keep it clean, that gives him a position in this race. They're up in, the title challengers Well, Dan is now... Dan gained 5 points on B Morgan. And Daka in the last race gained 19 points of that 47 point gap. Obviously, he can't gain that much in this race. The maximum you can gain is 12. If your team, if the person you're battling retires and you win the race with the fastest lap, you gain 12 points. But every point counts at this stage of the season. It's still early stages of the season. Oh, Dan has hit the back of Ghost Recon. I don't know if that gave him damage, but it definitely gave B Morgan damage. B Morgan has right wing end plate damage yet again for the second race in a row. I don't know if Dan got damage, but Ghost was... I don't think he was expecting Ghost to be that slow out into the hairpin. But if we have a look at Dan, he doesn't have any visual damage, but he might have some damage, I'm not sure. But B Morgan definitely has some damage, which is not good for him. Cookie with the penalty, but at least he's running in the points, in the final points paying position right now. Trident outside the points as it stands, which is bad news for them, as they were actually running pretty well in the Constructors' Championship. Trident before Monaco were up in 6th, doing pretty strong. I don't know where they'll be after this race, but they definitely won't get jumped by MP. Actually, saying that, Sarja still in 2nd place, on for another bunch of 8 points. V5 with the fastest lap of the race in 7th position. Sarja's all over the back of Ryan. If Sarja takes the lead of this race, I don't know what I do. I have to take back everything I've ever said about Sarja, I guess. Oh, it's getting very close between these two. Sarja nearly in the wall there. Daka past B Morgan up the straight, and that is a done deal. Sorry, I missed that one. B Morgan's going to look up the inside. That's very close. And now V5 has to find a way past. Oh, he's going to get way past. B Morgan's made a mistake. And B Morgan's going to fight that though, isn't he? He's going to fight up the inside. He's going to be very careful. He doesn't put V5 in the wall. V5 did this to Racing at Home in the last race. And he can't quite get ahead. He can't quite get ahead of B Morgan. It's so close between these two. As they come into the chicane, B Morgan's gone defensive. V5 looking down the inside. He's going to go for it. B Morgan turns in. No room for him there. He cuts the corner, gets a penalty for his worries. And, I mean, V5 went for it. B Morgan did cut the chicane. I'm not going to say the I'm not going to overturn that penalty, as V5 gets a penalty of his own. So, I think that kind of does justice. But, Ryan has been overtaken. Sorry, I keep missing. Every time there's another battle, there's another more important battle. Sarja is in the lead of a race here on lap 5 in Monaco, as Ghost is now trying to get up in under 2nd. This will be by far. He's now looking at Ghost. He's got not enough slipstream. Ghost now into Casino Square. Can he? At this right-hander. Ryan a bit wide and quite get the run. And they all hold position. Oh no! There is an attempt of a move on Dan. Daka up the inside of the hairpin. This is going to be close. That's definitely that's a massive corner cut by Daka, and he gets a 2-second penalty. But he has got ahead of Dan. Dan has been dispatched by the man chasing this championship lead. Missed last week, and I think had he been racing last week, it could have been so much different in the championship. But he's gaining points. It doesn't matter. Dan has been dispatched for P4, and Daka now has to try and get into the lead of this race. Sarja has run away with this lead. He's already 3 seconds up the road from Ryan. I think Ryan might have hit the wall. I can't see any damage, but I'm not sure. B Morgan really struggling with that damage. It depends on what penalties Racing at Home has, but this could be an interesting one in the championship. Sarja picks up fastest lap. That's how much clean air Sarja has. He has the fastest lap for the 2nd race in a row as it stands. If Sarja wins at Monaco, I will not resign, but I might have to go on board with him for a lap at France, which will just make me want to it will make me want to hurt myself, because it's Sarja, and my purpose in life is to bully Sarja. Yes, his fastest lap is gone. I shouldn't be so sad about drivers getting, but it's because it's Sarja. Just nothing personal, Sarja. It's just it's my role in life, and he knows it, so it's fine. As Ghost all over the back of Ryan. He has got the toe this time, down into the chicane. Will he look for it round the outside? Ryan's going to go late on the brakes. He's going to not give any room. Ryan's definitely cut the chicane there. And that is such a big cut. For actually trying to take the corner normally, that is quite a big cut. It's Dakar and Dan on the back of them now. Sarger with a 5-second lead. He's not going to gain that fastest lap back, I don't think. Cookie has definitely got that. Cookie, unfortunately, out of the points. What I didn't see is this man right here, V5, has picked. Now the thing is, if he's going for fastest lap, he won't be able to get it because he's not in the top 8. That's how it works in F2. It's only points paying position. It's not just the top 10. It's only only if you're in the points paying positions. Now in the sprint race, it's only the top 8. So he needs to be 8th. So he needs to hope for another crash. But this man is absolutely dominating at the moment. 6.4 second lead. Ryan still in second, doing some great defensive driving. I will give him that. Dakar has to find a way. There is front wing damage, and that one was for Ryan. That's a big chunk for Ryan. And that's going to hold these guys up even more. Sarger, without a mistake, has this one in the bag, I think. He just needs to not make a mistake now. Keep it clean, Sarger, and you win this race. That's how it goes right now. Ghost needs to find a way past. There's yellows in sector 2. That is Dan. Dan has made a mistake in the tunnel, and he's lost front wing damage. Sarger! Oh no way! The commentator's curse comes back to strike. How has he done that? Well, I guess I'm fine. I don't have to go on board with him for a whole lap next time around. But Sarger, you can keep your title of the biggest bottle job, because those points have just gone out the window. Completely out the window. Nice corner cut as well. Cheat, I've caught you on stream. I'm sorry, I don't hate Sarger, but it's quite funny. And he's retired from the race. He was about to win a race, and he's going to end up with absolutely nothing instead. He will be classified. I will do him the service of being classified, because I basically end of lap 7. B Morgan's looking to. He's desperate to try and get back into P4. No, into P3. Because of Dan and V5. He's been handed position, and because of Sarger, he's been handed another position. But actually, at the moment, he's losing one. No, he's not. He's actually not. He's only losing 1 point as it stands. As Dakar, he's trying to find any way past these guys as possible. He hasn't got penalties. He has not got penalties. B Morgan definitely has. Ghost definitely has. Ryan is in the wall, and that's just given B Morgan a position. But because B Morgan has penalty, I don't know what's going to happen. And penalties is going to decide this race. Yellow flags in sector 2. I don't know who that is. That is... I don't know. But Ghost is going to win on track. B Morgan's dived down the inside of Dakar, as long as he doesn't put him in the wall. He does put him in the wall. That might be it. Oh, that is risky stuff from B Morgan. That is very, very dangerous. And I suspect something might happen after the race because of that one. He didn't give him room at all. Dakar now loses P5 to Dakar, to Dan. But B Morgan, out of all of that, B Morgan has ended up extending his lead. But more importantly, as he has just said in the chat, one person bottled it, but Ghost Recon is a winner in Formula 2. He put pressure on Ryan that whole race, and I'll give credit to him. He was there when everything started to happen. He was there to pick up the pieces, and we have an American on the top step in F2. Well done. Second off, P2 racing at home was pretty much last at one point, if not last at one point, and comes home in P2. Third place, the KFC bargain bucket. Is it the KFC bargain bucket? No, it's the Cheroos of Ryan. After all that crashing on the final lap, Ryan still finishes third. So, credit to everyone in that race. Sarja, nice bowl job. Cookie, the fastest lap point will go to V5 because he was inside the top 8. And, yeah, that was interesting. I'm expecting to get probably a few stewards' reports after that final lap, indeed. And probably one from Sarja reporting himself. But anyway, we are off to Paul Ricard next week. And we will see you next Monday.